Hello, this is the chart set for the full moon. It's on the 22nd in the UK at 6:23 in the morning. You might already be experiencing the problems that this full moon is showing us. I have been experiencing a lot of problems today in uploading a video to YouTube. Part of the problem is retrogrades. Before I look at the full moon itself, I'm going to look at Mars. Mars is an interesting planet. When it works well, it gives us action, gives us our drive, we get what we want, we have energy, enthusiasm, and I love in Vedic astrology, it's known as the commander-in-chief of the army. Who wouldn't want that working on your behalf? And it works in a very positive way when Mars is good, so to speak. A negative Mars, because all planets have positive and negative, gets to be irritable, gets to be violent, gets to be anger. So you either want passion, you either want the spiritual warrior, or you want the opposite. It's a choice. Now Mars has only just gone retrograde. However, we also have at the moment Pluto has also just gone retrograde, as has Saturn. Where's Saturn gone? Saturn's also, of course, close to Mars. And Jupiter, which has been retrograde since January. Following on from this, on the 28th, so not far away, a week's time, Mercury will start its second retrograde cycle of the year. It's in Taurus. It's an Earth sign. And this chart, set for London, is showing Mercury Rising. So we call it in the first house. The Sun and Moon, here they are, the Sun at 2 degrees of Taurus, opposite 2 degrees of Scorpio, there's the Moon, are interesting because no other planet is at the early signs, early degrees of a sign. Therefore, they're kind of acting on their own. And you might be feeling that you're unsupported, you haven't got any help. And I certainly have been feeling that today. So as I said, I've tried to upload videos to no avail. Suddenly, I'm not recognized by my YouTube account, all sorts of frustrating things. Mars can rule the processes that are to do with actions such as computers, as a for instance, mechanical things. And there's no reason why suddenly something doesn't work, except, maybe time to just let off steam, have a bit of a tantrum, shut your feet, but recognize it's part of a process. So maybe the video I made earlier wasn't the one you meant to see today. What I like about this energy at the full moon is Mercury. Mercury is, after all, the messenger planet. And here it is, and it's been doing it all week, is making a very good trine to Jupiter and the North Node, which again is trining Pluto in Capricorn. And Mercury, when it goes retrograde, will go back and make another grand trine with Pluto and Jupiter. And it will be doing that at the new moon in May, the full moon in May, and the new moon in June. Therefore, the retrograde cycle of Mercury as the messenger is communicating with us in Earth energy. Earth, any planet in the Earth element is grounding, practical. It wants to manifest. It wants to bring things out into the open that we can touch, smell, feel, taste. That's the sensual world. And this full moon is, of course, in Taurus. There's the Sun in Taurus, an Earth element. The planet that governs, every planet has another planet that governs every sign, shall I say. The Sun in Taurus is governed by Venus. And Venus, as you can hopefully see here, in Aries, is very close to Uranus. Now, Uranus is unpredictable. Uranus is a bit of a rascal. You can't catch hold of Uranus. Its whole orbit is eccentric. It does things differently. It's the outsider in archetypes. It's the rebel. And certainly with Venus, it can be very positive in the sense of new relationships can just come into your life that you didn't expect. But unfortunately, with Uranus, things come and go very fast, so they might not last. There's also Uranus. It's a bit wide, what we call wide, but it is making a right angle to Pluto up there in Capricorn. That's an ongoing transit that basically started a long time ago now, a few years ago in 2012, and it has kind of concluded. But any time a planet connects with Uranus or Pluto, it triggers it again, like a little time bomb that's been sitting there. Now, there's lots of other things going on in this chart, but what I want to alert you to are these retrogrades. Saturn retrograde, Mars retrograde, Jupiter retrograde, Pluto retrograde. The only planet that isn't retrograde is Venus. The Sun never goes retrograde, nor does the Moon, and Uranus isn't yet, or Neptune. But that's a lot of planets retrograde. And what retrograde means is we're going backwards over things that we've already passed through. So we're reviewing the past. Now, once Mercury moves into its retrograde phase, it's in what we call the shadow at the moment. That will be on the 28th of April. Mercury, as the messenger, is close to the Earth. Therefore, it becomes personal for all of us to look at our lives, look at our business, look at our work, look at our relationships, look at everything in our lives, and to review it. Mercury retrograde is not an all negative time for any of us. We are bombarded with information, so we need to digest it. And so Taurus is saying very much, has it got a practical use? Can it really help me, this information that I'm receiving? I'm going to be doing a webinar next week. Hopefully, if the webinar service gets its act together for me and gives me back my privileges, etc., etc. I will publish that by Friday, hopefully. But I wanted to give you a little glimpse of why you might be feeling frustrated at this time. You might be feeling out on a limb at this time. You might be feeling deeply emotional. Scorpio moon is very emotional. I am a sun sign Scorpio. I do understand the Scorpio energy. It's quite private, quite controlled, it's very much an inner process of emotions. Not wanting to ask for help, self-sufficient. But if you look around the chart, you can see the planets are helping each other. They're connecting with each other, apart from the sun and moon. Therefore, the help's there. Just got to ask for it. And praying for a miracle. There are lots of situations in our lives we have no control over, much as if we would like to have control. That's the fixed signs, by the way, they like to control things. So it's about letting things go, asking for the miracle, and then trusting. Trust is a Jupiterian process, by the way. Jupiter will be going direct after the next new moon in May. Things will start to move forward. Meanwhile, we've got, and I mean that, all of us, a lot of work to do in clearing up the past, looking behind us, seeing what's gone wrong, and not avoiding things. One metaphor I came to my mind today was the metaphor of a pothole. If you're a driver, most of us are, I'm not actually anymore, but I have driven in my life, potholes, try and avoid them, drive the car, maneuver around them. Now we're being asked to reverse, and I'm sorry to tell you, but the potholes are still there. So you can't avoid them. It's better to look at those places in our lives that have caused us problems. Maybe a trauma, maybe a time when you lost confidence in yourself, you lost faith, you lost trust. All of these little places are really here now as we're going through this retrograde cycle of so many planets to be healed. I look forward to seeing you on my webinar. I will be announcing it hopefully in the next day or two, and it is dealing with Mercury retrograde but also the other retrogrades to give you insights how to navigate these difficult times. Thank you for watching. I'm Pam at healingstars.com.